Speak Easy podcast listeners. How are you doing? Altavis Pelzer here, your voice manager, and I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. This episode is all about me. Yes, yes. It has only taken us 3-4 years to to get to this topic about introverts and world domination. But listen, this is going to be one that you want to take some notes. So go ahead, pause it real quick, get your notebook, get your notepad, get your index cards and your pen, get an extra pen just in case that one runs out of ink, because you're going to want to take some notes in this particular episode, right? You're going to want to take notes. I'm excited about my guest today. Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so this one, this is going to be my heart. This is going to be my baby when it comes to my favorite episodes, because as an introvert, I have been able to leverage some amazing things in the industries of podcasting and speaking and being an author. And when people see me, they don't think I'm an introvert until they really see me. So we'll talk about what that means later in the episode. But Nick, let the studio audience know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
All right. Well, I'm Nick Shelton, the connected introvert, just a regular guy, the deluxe version of that. And what I do is I learned that I was an introvert and a little different, because I said, am I like an alien from another planet that didn't pay attention in how to blend in with humans class? And now I have to try to figure that out. No, there's a lot of us out there like this. And I found out it's okay. And not only is it okay, there's a lot of advantages to being an introvert, but you just have to know how to use it as an advantage. And so when I figured out how to do that, there's a lot of people that said, how do you do that? I would like to learn too. So now it's my mission to let introverts know that they can be wildly successful in a world that's built for and by extroverts, while still staying true to themselves and maintaining their energy levels and just being able to do what they want to do without having to become. A lot of people say, well, you have to become an extrovert. You do not. Introverts do not have to become extroverts in order to be successful. And I help prove that that is the case. You can be yourself and still be successful.
So let's just put it all out on the table. First and foremost, let's talk about what an introvert is. And so people immediately kind of lump people into extrovert means you're loud and introvert means you're soft-spoken and shy.
Right, and that's not necessarily the case. So introverts, all it means is you recharge by, being alone, being on the side. You enjoy like one-on-one conversations more than group conversations. Whereas an extrovert, they get their energy from being around people. And introverts, you get drained by being around people, and then you need to recharge by, on the side or by yourself. And a lot of times people just assume that introverts are all shy and socially awkward. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes, and a lot of times, introverts are also shy and socially awkward, but it's not necessarily the case. And also public speaking. A lot of introverts are really good public speakers, and then when they're done, they get off the stage, they need to go lay down somewhere or, have some time. They don't need to, they don't jump into the crowd and go crowd surfing or anything like that and try to party all night. They say, okay, that's it for me. And they get off stage and they do their thing, and then they have to recharge. And that's pretty much what an introvert is. You have to, you get your energy from being alone or in small, quiet situations, and then you go out and give it all out there, and then you have to come back and recharge.
It's so significant to talk about this topic, because for me, for the first 4 years of my business, I hated networking. Absolutely hated it. The whole concept behind having 500 business cards and handing them out to strange people at random, not really having real long conversations. You just kind of it's like speed dating. And it was the worst experience ever. So much so that I found myself putting out money to be at networking events so that I could try to grow my business. And I would sit in a corner. I would sit in a corner and I would maybe get like 3 business cards from people, but it drained the heck out of me. And so I thank you for saying that piece, let's start in there. But one of the things that I had to find was I can still network. I just had to find what worked for me.
Yes, exactly.
And so let's talk about that because, oftentimes they talk about I guess it could be the bad things about being an introvert, but there are a lot of great assets that we bring to the table as an introvert that many people don't know about. So let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so one of the greatest things and superpowers of introverts is the power of observation. Introverts are always sitting back and taking in the scene, getting all the information. So if somebody just walks in and starts talking and saying their thing, then they might be in the spotlight, but they're not taking in the information. So introverts usually have a wider view of the whole situation. They get all the facts. They're because they're sitting there. They're watching all the players and seeing what everyone's doing. So they have the information. So and a lot of times introverts might be the most intelligent or some of the most intelligent people in the room because they have the information. They're analyzing the information, and so then when they do finally speak, it's coming from a strong place.
I approve that message. I receive that and approve that message. But you're definitely it's that part. I found that we have significant conversations. We have we do a lot of research, and part of it is, again, we have some things. We cut 9. I mean, we measure 9 times and cut once sometimes, but we are really precise in certain areas. We are, really deliberate when it comes to certain relationships and, connecting with the right people, and which is really powerful when it comes to business, because while someone may come into the room trying to get connected to everybody, we know, well, there's probably maybe like 5 people in the room that I really need to connect to.
Right.
And that'll set us on fire.
Yes. And I tell people with expectations, keep your expectations at 1. I say when you show up someplace, don't say, I need to meet everyone. Say, I need to make 1 solid connection here. And you might not make it, or you might make more, but it takes the weight off your shoulders if you just plan to make 1 connection. Then you say, oh, okay, I can do that. I should be able to make 1. And then you don't have to be overwhelmed by thinking of meeting everybody at the place.
Exactly. Speakeasy listeners, you guys know I've told you guys before about showing up at an event for Black Speakers Network and literally knowing a few people in the room and connecting. And from that, just talking to the people that I knew in the room, I was set up with another client. A few weeks later, my name was tagged in a post. Somebody was looking for a service that I provided at the time. And there were other people who were tagged in the post before me, but because I was at that event and they were at the event as well, I never met them, but they were like, oh, send me your prices, send me your information.
Yes.
It's the significant conversations that really do matter.
Right. And first you have to show up, though. I always tell people nothing happens if you don't show up. So you might say, oh, I got an invite to this thing, but, well, I think I'm going to catch up on my Netflix. No, you need to go out there and actually show up to the event. because they're not going to come to your house. You have to go out there. And
No, they
so
will
that's number
definitely
one.
not. And at this point, you don't want them to.
Right. And I have some tips for your listeners on things they can do, because right now, since a lot of people are under kind of a lockdown scenario or semi-lockdown where most people are at home, and so people have been asking me, what can I do right now from home to start, building my network? So I have some tips, if I may.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
See,
so
wait, Speakeasy listeners, you heard that he let you know that
yes,
he's about to bring that fire. So make sure you
yes,
got your pen.
get your pen and paper out. So
Get it out. Okay.
So first, you have to, an easy thing that you can do right now is it's important to get known, because there's a saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but I say it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So, so Denzel Washington, he gets special treatment when he goes places, not because he knows a lot of people, but a lot of people know him. So when he shows up, they go, oh, hey, and then they roll out the red carpet because he's known. So you need to get known. And so how do you get known? Well, right now, since you're sitting at home, you can get pre-known. And so how you do that is, so any industry, organization, they all have social media, and they'll have events and things like that. So what you want to do is sign up for some kind of event. So for example, if we said beekeepers, you're interested in beekeeping, and that's just an example, and and either you want to learn beekeeping or you want to meet the type of people that are into beekeeping. So this could be anything. So if you want to meet the type of people that are into something, or you want to do that thing, either or, you can sign up for an event, and it could be a few months away, but then on their social media, they're going to have some kind of chat forum or something like that. Yeah. So you need to observe, use your power of observation, observe who the top 2 or 3 voices are in that chat room. And then you're going to want to piggyback and comment on some of their comments and say, hey, that was a good point, ask a few questions, and just make it so they get used to seeing your name pop up. So, and this is what you're doing now during kind of the lockdown time. So then when things thaw out and the event is coming up, you say, so if it's Jim and Jackie that you started talking to on the chat thing, then when the event comes up, you say, hey, Jim, hey, Jackie, I'm going to the event. I'm looking forward to meeting you and putting a face with a name. And they'll say, oh yeah, look for me when you get in there. So then instead of showing up into a cold room, not knowing anyone, trying to figure it out, now you're going in, it's like a pre-approved credit card. All you have to do is sign. You're already halfway in there. So now you show up, and since they were strong in that chat room, they're probably also strong in the social circles in that group. So now you're going in like a boss. You go in, you meet Jim and Jackie, and they're going to introduce you to that top circle that they know. So now you're going in at the top, networking from the top down versus going in cold and just trying to figure it out. So that's something you can start planting all these seeds right now from your living room. And then when it's time to go, now you already are pre-known in these areas, and you can just walk in and really start dominating once the world starts getting back to people getting out again.
Oh my goodness, that was an awesome tip. For me, I had to do, so I had to find what worked for me.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that worked for me is I love music. So if there's music playing, I can dance. So you would think I'm an extrovert if there's music playing. But it draws people to you. Because normally when you're like dancing, people are paying attention to who you are. And so I was at a podcasting event a few years ago and walked in. I said, you know what? That's going to be my way in. They're playing music. Let me go up front. Now, mind you, I didn't say I'm getting on stage. I just said I'm going up front to go dance. And I'm down on the floor and it's people on the stage. Well, I got excited because it was music, and I turned my camera around and turned around, and it was a room of like 200 people, and they're all staring. And so I'm just like, look at the camera, don't look at the people. Look at the camera, don't look at the people. But they invited me onto the stage to dance with them. And so, we're on there, we're dancing, we're just having fun. and we get started. We go to lunch, and when we come back from lunch, the organizer of the event called me by name to come back on stage and dance as people were coming in, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh,
But it landed me a position. It landed me an opportunity to network, because he called me by name. So now everybody else is like, well, who is she?
Yes.
Where did she come from? And then it also, it made him reach out to me to be a guest on his podcast.
Nice.
So it opened up some opportunities. So I was just like, but that was my way in. Now, any other way, I would be at the back of the room next to the door for an easy exit, because
yes,
that is just not the way. But it's interesting though, because even when we think about some of the people celebrity-wise, Barack Obama, introvert.
yes,
Mark Zuckerberg, introvert.
yes,
Like brilliant minds doing some phenomenal things, and it's just we get our energy from a different source, and
yes.
you don't need to underestimate yourself or think that you can't reach a certain level of success because you're an introvert.
Exactly.
I love it. I approve. So I approve this message, you guys. I think I'm gonna say that throughout the whole episode. I approve this message. Now, with that being said, with you tapping into who you are as an introvert, have you ever come up against someone saying, no, that's not the way to do it?
On like with the tips and things, saying
Yeah, with the tips that you give, or with you showing up in the way that you show up. Have you ever had anybody say, well, no, you should do it this way. No, you should be doing this instead of what you're doing.
So the closest thing to that, somebody told me, they said, if I networked like you, people would walk all over me. And I said, are people walking all over me? No. So I said, I don't, I think that you're misinterpreting how the techniques work. So it's not some kind of, I'm not out there begging people and doing all these things that would make it. So I don't know what angle they were looking at it like, where they felt they had to do some strong arm networking. I'm just trying to build actual relationships with people. So instead of going in and trying to say, what can I get from these people? I'm actually saying, who would I actually like to maybe be friends with here? Who seems cool? And it doesn't have to lead to business. It's just going to lead to, I just like being around this person. And then I told them, so someone else said, hey, I just want to get leads. I just want to get leads for my business. You're talking about making connections and building relationships. I said, if you make connections and build relationships, you'll have all the leads that you want, because people will refer people to you. They might not need your service, but they'll know people. And if they like you and trust you, they're going to refer people to you because they're going to know. But if you just say, hey, I want some leads, get me some business. Who do you know that can get me business? Then people are going to put their guards up and their walls up, and it's going to be very hard for you to do it that way. But some people, they feel that they have to do that hard charging strong arm way, and more power to them. But I feel it's better just to make genuine relationships and with people, connect with them, and then all things come through that. Everything good comes through that.
Yeah, the reason I had you say that is because I think a lot of times I never want them to think that it's okay if you just go all in, that you're not going to still receive some pushback sometimes. Because, yeah, we will receive some pushback. Yes. We will get some people that say, no, you have to be the loudest one in the room. No, you have to network with everyone. You will still get those people. But when you stand in your zone of excellence, then people can say whatever they want to say. You know what allows you to be successful.
Yes.
And so I wanted people to hear it from your perspective because, again, I've had people do it to me, and I'm just like, I you win some, you lose some. I mean,
Yes.
but I've made some significant connections that other people weren't, given that they weren't awarded that opportunity because of who I am, because of the way that I show up in a room. And I love that you said we have to show up, because that was the other piece of it. For years,
Yes.
I didn't show up because I'm different. I'm the oddball. I'm not the loudest. Even when it came to events, I would see authors go around the room and they're like selling their books to people as they're walking through the room. And I'm just like, so
Right.
I don't think that's going to work for me.
I think a lot of us can relate to that.
It was like a cringe moment where you're just like,
Yeah.
this is not going to work. But we can tap into something greater. And then something else that I wanted to highlight is the fact that introverts network a lot, just not on a bigger scale.
Right.
Because we network every day. We just do it in everyday settings.
Right.
And
It's
so
smaller settings, more intimate settings.
exactly, we do it in everyday settings. And even now, with us being at home, and most of the live events going to virtual, it's been a great opportunity to network and connect with people. And guess what, we get to do it from our own home.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing.
That is an amazing thing. We get to do it from the comfort of our own home. The biggest thing, and I don't know if you've seen this when it comes to introverts who are just starting to walk in their superpowers, the biggest thing is the follow-up.
Yes. Absolutely. That is huge. And follow up is like the maintaining your relationships. And a lot of people are horrible at maintaining relationships. And so I'll share a real quick tip on a way that people can maintain their relationships, and especially now during this time where people are at home. So go through your phone contacts list, both business and personal contacts, and your email, both business and personal email, and make a list of everybody you haven't talked to in 3 months that you should have talked to or that you need to talk to. And then you don't have to do it all in one day, but take a week. So every 3 months do this, and take a week and just go through a few names and either make a phone call, or what I like to do is I make a video on my phone so they can see me and they can hear me. I make a little video and I send it to them, and I just say, how'd the knee surgery go? How's the new baby? What's going on with you? And then I tell them, here's what's the latest with me. And so what this does is it keeps you at the top of their mind. And so they always know, so there's an opportunity. They say, oh yeah, I was just talking to Nick, and I know what's going on with them. And they'll say, hey, you should meet this person, or I'll know what's going on with them. So if I can help out, I'll help them. Because if you don't do this, what happens is, so for example, if you were like an admissions person at a university and someone who hadn't talked to you for 6 years calls you up and says, hey, my son would like to go there, can you get him in? And you say, you haven't talked to me for 6 years. Now first thing you do is call and ask me for something. But if you've been doing this every 3 months, then you would have already known, their kid is getting of college age. Hey, where's he thinking of going to school? Maybe you should come here. And so these relationships, all of these things would fall into place, and you would always know what everyone's up to. They're going to know what you're up to. So if they can help you, they will. You don't even have to ask. They'll know what you're doing. You say, this is my project. This is what I'm doing. They'll say, oh, I can help out there. And then the same, you'll know about their projects and you can help them. But you have to keep your network up to date, or else it's just all for nothing. If you meet all these people and then you just let them fade away, then you're just wasting your time. So maintain those networks. Follow up.
Follow up. Speak Easy podcast listeners, I told y'all I love this episode. So you got some great tips and resources. And the tips and resources you got today were not just for introverts. Extroverts, we'll let you borrow them as well. We'll let you use them as well. No, but this is a great opportunity now more than ever for you to be able to make the connections that you need, the connections that you want, and to foster good relationships. So, Nick, I want you to let them know how they can reach out to you for more information about what it is that you do, and also how they can find you online.
All right. So connectedintrovert.com. So just connectedintrovert.com will let you know about me, the latest, the book. I have a book out called An Introvert's Guide to World Domination. You can either find the link, and that's your inner world and outer world, how to control that. And that's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, An Introvert's Guide to World Domination. And then also on connectedintrovert.com, I have video courses, I have coaching, I have all kinds of cool stuff on there, and it's getting updated all the time. So, and there'll be a workshop coming up too. It's coming. So connectedintrovert.com, check it out.
Appreciate that. Speak Easy listeners, listen, this is all about elevation in life and business. And in order for you to do so, we have to learn our strengths and we have to learn in the areas where we're not as strong. But guess what? We have to move forward in our strengths. And it's okay if you're an introvert. You can make this a successful year. You have to tap into those superpowers. So with that being said, we want to make sure that we hear from you and what this episode did for you. Make sure that you join the conversation with bit.ly/World Voice Community. It's a free Facebook group, or you can leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Guys, listen, tap in, tap in, tap in. Make sure that you are taking action on something that you heard today, especially with the follow-up. That was pure gold, okay? Platinum, because there is fortune in the follow-up. With that being said, I am your host, Altavis Pelzer, and until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.